Just so everybody knows, we are being recorded. This whole session will be recorded and submitted to the town. If anybody else comes into the meeting, they're not going to hear this, but I guess we just ask that anyone not on the commission mute their microphones during the meeting, and then I'll try to ask if there's any public input after each agenda item. If I forget, please remind me, commissioners. And then if there's any public input on any of the agenda items, we're happy to take it. So with that, I'll go through the agenda real quick. We have the resignation of John Kazanjian. We have to discuss the Board of Selectmen's vote to close town playgrounds and a request. We need to have a roll call vote on that and any other votes tonight. Sorry, that was just on the agenda. Discuss Park and Rec's personnel policy in this state of emergency. We have a donation from Millipore Sigmas. That's in the name of Claire Kazanjian, and then adjournment. So Alicia, did I get everything as far as the meeting setup in general, as far as disclaimers and whatnot?
Yeah, the only thing that I would add in is that if folks are coming into the virtual room, if for some reason they don't have the option for a microphone, they can always use the chat option to write in that information, as we go along when you've asked for public input. Okay,
great. All right, so let's get going. First item is the resignation of John Kazanjian. So John was just appointed by the Board of Selectmen. However, we've had some other developments in the department, and I think I'll let Alicia fill us in as far as that goes.
Yes, so at this point in time, we have had our recreation and sports coordinator resign from the position. The individual that we had hired, I think, would like to move back to the location that they were previously. So at this point in time, we do have a vacancy. So, that's kind of the short and sweet of it. Hello,
yeah.
Sean.
You got to unmute, Sean.
I'm working on it. Okay, Sean, you should be unmuted.
I'm here.
All right, great. So Sean, we were just going over the first agenda item, resignation of John Kazanjian. So do we need to vote on this, or are we just informing the rest of the
yeah, so you have to vote that you are accepting the resignation that he has put in.
Okay. If there's any discussion, we're happy to entertain it, but if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept John Kazanjian's resignation.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, so we do have to take a roll call vote. So I guess we'll just go. Sean, what's your vote?
Aye.
Fred?
Aye.
I accept the resignation.
Mike?
Aye.
All right, I'm also an aye, so that's the ayes have it. John Kazanjian has officially resigned from the board, from the Park and Rec commissioners, or from the Park and Rec Commission. So I guess we should inform the selectmen and let them schedule another hearing. Hopefully we get someone to volunteer their time.
Yes, that would be ideal.
All right, so we can start asking around, see if we know anyone, or if anybody else out there knows anyone, we could use some help.
That position's up for election, correct? Or was that just?
Yeah,
So actually, we wouldn't want to have an appointment made.
That's a very good point. Yeah, so with we only have one more meeting. I think we can ride with 4 until the election, unless I don't personally see the need to appoint someone.
Yeah, I don't
So
know
we
if
can,
anybody qualified to step forward.
who's got that feedback going?
That's me, I think.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next agenda item. So at the Board of Selectmen meeting Monday night, they voted to close all the playgrounds in town. They did note during the meeting that I think they agreed with the town manager that that was really in our purview to be closing the town playgrounds and parks for that matter. They did more or less agree with that, but went forward with closing them anyways in hopes that I think probably that it would influence us if we weren't going to close them. But they even noted that it is our responsibility to do that. So in light of that, in the discussion they had, I find myself agreeing with them. It's probably for the best interest, just to, close everything that we can that might transmit this virus. So unless anyone feels strongly the other way or has anything else they want to add, we can.
No, I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
I was just going to say, just so you guys know, Westford made the decision to follow us today about lunchtime, and North Reading about 2 o'clock did the same thing. So it's a growing trend that this is coming down. I would say we had a conference call on Wednesday, and probably about 10% of the cities had already made that decision. We have another conference call tomorrow morning at 10:30. Which I'll send you guys an update if you want. You guys can sign in and listen, or I'll also send you the recording of that video as well.
Okay, so just for clarity, the trend is that all the towns are closing their playgrounds?
And removing the porta potties from all of their sports fields and public places to discourage people from being there.
Okay.
So the one thing that I want to add in is that we're specifically talking about playgrounds here. And the other component that the Board of Selectmen was very specific about was the basketball courts, because they had seen a large group of individuals playing pickup basketball at 300 King. So the clarity piece is that the parks are not closed, right? If people are practicing social distancing, you want to take a walk on the beach, do it, get out, do it. That's not, an issue there. It is simply the fact that it is not feasible nor accessible for us to be able to decontaminate the play structures. So that is something that we are asking people to refrain from playing on those structures.
So are you saying it's fine, that we allow people to get together and play basketball on the parking ring?
No, I am not saying that. I am saying that was the concern of the Board of Selectmen at their meeting. So the clarification that I'm making is that it's not that all the parks are closed. It's that the playground and the basketball court is closed. So like I said, if you want to go for a walk on the beach, please do so. Just practice social distancing.
Okay. Everybody clear on that? Any questions for the discussion?
I'm all set.
Yep, good.
All right, so I'll entertain a vote to close the town playgrounds. I think that's it, right?
I do see that Saul is here, so I don't know if you guys want to ask for public input on this one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so if there's anyone who would like to chime in as far as this decision goes before we make it, happy to hear you.
I guess all I would say is in the same vein as the walking on the beach. Is it reasonable to, for one person to practice shooting hoops, or do we just think it's too much of an invitation for groups to join to permit that? So
will you introduce yourself, Saul? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Saul Marini, 149 Hartwell.
All right, thanks. So I would say I think we just need to, my personal opinion, 1 out of 4 here is that the policy, we should just make the policy that all these playscapes are closed for the future. I think it'll be too hard for the police to go by 1 hour, see one guy shooting, come by a half an hour later, now there's two. Well, is that a big deal? They're both shooting on opposite hoops. And then, I just want to put that burden on them. I think it just makes it clear to the community that we're just trying to get ahead of this and, keep the social distancing as far as our town policies go.
If
my
we leave it
personal
open at
opinion.
all, sorry, Mike, it becomes an attractive nuisance. And
Yeah.
then you're asking police or somebody else to decide what's good and what's bad, just as Mike said. So I just think we just have to close it completely.
I think
Yeah,
you
Mike,
probably
I
also,
would agree. I would agree that it just needs to be a blanket policy just to close the court and the play structures.
Okay.
I also think, I mean, a walk on the beach is one thing. Are we concerned about people using the playground at the beach? I think
Well, that would be closed under this policy as far as
correct.
I understand.
Yep. So I think we just have to be, I don't know how we're going to convey this message to the town.
Well, I think I drove by Fay Park today. I saw caution tape all over both the swing set and the playground there. I assume the fire department went out and did that after the Board of Selectmen meeting. So I was going to follow up with the vote and ask if possibly Tim or Alicia could do that with the rest of the playscapes and on around town.
I'll
So-
take care of the beach tomorrow. I'll be down there at 8:30 because we're taking down the tree.
Okay.
So the highway department did go out and do Fay Park, and they, we kind of felt that when we put the sign out in front of the parking lot at 300, that would curtail it. But if you would like us to go in and like caution tape off the entranceway of Castle in the Trees, we can do that. I'm not sure what the solution would be for the basketball courts.
Yeah. So there are barriers to the parking lot right now.
Yes, at 300.
Okay. Maybe we could just put a sign up that just basically says, what the policy is, that we're closing both the basketball court and the playground for the time, for the foreseeable future.
So what's currently up there is the giant electric sign from Highway. And I think that's what's been some of the confusion for folks, is that the sign specifically says the parks are closed, but they have limited amount of letters that they can put on that signage. So that's the best that they could do with that electronic sign. But if you do go to our website, it does very clearly state that the playgrounds are shut down, as well as the basketball court at 300 King.
Yeah.
The electronic sign says playground. You just got to wait for it to rotate. It says parks and then when it flips, it says playgrounds.
Well, it shouldn't say parks, I guess, in the first place. So that's something we can work with Highway to try to figure what that is.
How about facility?
If
Well,
they
that
can
would
get it.
And that would only really be 300 King, right? As far as facility, because you can still go for a walk on the beach. You can still walk around Bay Park. But as far as a whole facility, really, we do have the walking path around it, right? I guess people could still use that. So I guess I don't know. We can put something up on our Facebook page, our website. Try to get the message out that way. Ask if we need to amend that sign. We can ask Highway to do that.
Okay.
I think that's really, and then, we do have to rely on the community's common sense as well. I think it's pretty evident. I'm sure there's been people watching these meetings, especially the selectmen meetings, to figure out what the town's going to be doing to combat this. So I think our
I
community.
made it a point to drive by Fay Park and 300 King the past couple of days since we put it up, and both of them have been a ghost town. And I think Alicia went past the beach the other day. There was like one person there. So
I go and do my routes.
Yeah, I think people are definitely heeding the advice. I've seen a lot of people walking around on the sidewalks, but like I said, in all of my adventures since we put the sign up, I haven't seen anybody in either of the parks.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what tomorrow brings with 70-degree weather.
Right.
I know.
All right. So I'm satisfied with the discussion unless there's anything else. if our guest Saul has anything he'd like to add, he's more than welcome. If not, I'd entertain a motion to close all the playgrounds in town.
I move.
make a mo-
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I make a motion to close all the playgrounds in town.
All right.
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any further discussion? Okay. Sean, do you approve that motion?
As I say, yeah, roll call.
Sorry.
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Fred?
Aye.
I'm also an aye. All right, so the ayes have it. The playgrounds will be closed until further notice. Next on the agenda is discuss Park and Rec's personnel policy in this state of emergency. I'll let Alicia take that.
Yep. So I sent you guys all out a state of emergency for telecommuting policy. We're getting to the place where, so at this point in time, Town Hall has been officially closed to the public. But the issue still stands that, you know, we're in a building full of employees that, you know, we don't know what everybody's level of wanting to take risk is. We also don't know, you know, who those individuals are interacting with at this point in time. And, you know, we do have staff members. I won't get into too much details just to, you know, for HIPAA reasons, but you know, there are individuals throughout the building that would be, you know, might have elderly family they're taking care of. They might have young children that they're taking care of. They might have family members that are on fire or police departments, things like that, that, you know, they can't really control what their interaction with others are. And would like to. So at this point in time, many of the other departments, I think, especially, so Tim and I did that meeting on Wednesday, which was with the Northeast region Parks and Recreation departments. And I believe, and Tim, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that our town and one other were the only ones where the staff were still inside the building working.
Yeah, on the call. I would say it's probably a 60-40 split right now from who's out there. And, you know, that we did have a number of people who weren't able to attend, and that was part of the reason we're doing another meeting tomorrow. But yeah, as far as on the call, we were one of the two departments that actually were still in. Everybody else who was on the call was calling remotely.
Yep. And we're also getting to this place where, you know, daycares are going to be shut down moving forward. So, you know, we really, I think Tim and I have done a lot of work over the last week to work with our staff to try to figure out, you know, what happens if we have to stay in place. And, you know, we would have to work at home. Can we do this? And I feel very confident that our staff has, you know, a really dedicated process of how we'll communicate with each other with lists of things that we need to accomplish. And, you know, part of that, the policy that we had in there was to have a checks and balance system where they would report back to us with daily statements that are saying, you know, this is what I've accomplished for the day. I will compile those and I can give them to you all as a weekly statement so that you can kind of keep in check of everything going on. So that's something that I just want to stay ahead of the curve to keep the staff safe and healthy for as long as they hopefully can be. And if they choose that they do want to, you know, kind of hunker into their homes and just stay there, that they have that option so that they do feel safe in these, you know, ever-changing times. It's definitely, you know, a scary time right now. So that's kind of the why of what I'd like to do this. And I'm offering this policy up as, you know, this is unprecedented. We've never been in a state of emergency like this. So I'm not looking at creating this telecommuting policy for us to, you know, to keep going with this in the future. It literally is just for this specific situation that we're in at this point in time. So there you go. If you got any questions or anything that you would like to add or discuss to that policy, I am open ears.
I have a question. IT capability-wise, are people going to be able to have access remotely to do whatever they need to do?
Absolutely. So one of the big things that we worked on this week is we have enough of the mobile units that we've used for registration. So we have Microsoft Pros. So there's enough for all of the staff to have each of those. And we've worked with the town's IT department to set up a VPN and the remote desktop. So everyone has access to their remote desktops.
Okay.
So
And,
that-
and
So
how
I think
many people does that entail? Either of us or
That would be myself, that would be Tim, that would be Megan, our administrative assistant, Rachel, our community education and teen program coordinator, and Katie, our teen program lead.
Okay.
So the other piece to that is not only is there the hardware, but our software wise, everything that we have integrated to in the past 3 years is web-based. So obviously MyRec, just like you can sign on to it on your side, we have a side that we can sign on and we can access anything no matter where we are. A big part of our paperwork that we have coming in is filtered through a company called Seamless Docs. So all of that stuff comes in and it's an electronic copy. And a lot of what Megan does is checks the documents when they come in, files them, and then puts them into a filing cabinet. So that's also work that, you know, can be done remotely as well. And then obviously all of our social media postings and the other softwares that we use are also cloud-based, including for budgetary reasons, Munis and stuff is also cloud as well.
So I think you answered my question earlier, but I just want to confirm. My biggest concern would be the handling of personal information. But it sounds to me that that's still going to be where it currently resides today, and it's not going to be on your your personal machines at home, correct?
Not at all.
Okay.
And that's part of the policy is it talks specifically about security. So everything is supposed to be done through the remote desktop. Any documents that are handled, like Tim was mentioning, Seamless Docs, all of that stuff has like hard security behind it. So, you know, we're not really doing anything differently at home off of these Microsoft Pros that we would be doing differently at the office.
Fantastic.
Mike, I have a couple questions. So is there anything you cannot do other than face-to-face customer service? Is there anything that cannot be accomplished from your daily tasks from working from home? And if so, what are those duties?
Yeah, great question. Right now, the only thing that we would not be able to do, which we could do if it's something that you deemed that you wanted that to happen, is to have a cell phone be connected with the main front desk line. The policy that the town has been looking into would be that all of the departments would change their voicemail greetings, essentially to say, please leave a message and we will get back to you. And all of the voicemails are accessible, you know, from a distant location. So the ability to just like pick up the phone and say, hello, Littleton Parks and Recreation, that would be the one thing that would be, you know, we wouldn't be able to do at this time. But if it's something that you desperately wanted, you know, I think we could work with IT to figure that out. Tim.
Okay, do you have the ability to change the message as you see fit?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, my preference, just having listened to your answer, is I would just direct them. I would just mention the fact that our offices are closed for the reasons that they are, and then direct them to using email.
Okay.
That our staff is monitoring the email. That might be the quickest way to get in touch with, leave a message, perhaps, whatever. But if you're looking to get in touch with the staff as quickly as possible, email might be the best route, or, something to that effect. If you think, should be something different, I would just craft it to reflect the situation that we're in.
Okay.
And not just say, leave a message, we'll get back to you. That's what it says now, I assume.
Yeah, and the other thing about that is like Alicia had stated, we can call into the voicemails as well. So we can call in, put in the password in the phone. So like Megan could do her phone, you know, so on and so forth. The other piece to your question though, Mike, is there are a couple things that aren't able to necessarily be done remotely, as far as obviously anything that's coming in the mail. We do have Camp T checks coming in right now. So those are going to be theoretically sitting in a mailbox, not being processed unless somebody went and collected that. And then cash and check, obviously getting that upstairs. But if, you know, the office isn't open, that's going to be something that kind of falls out through attrition. And then there's just a couple other, you know, procedural things as far as, you know, getting payroll, the hard copies, and, you know, getting checks sent out, that I don't know if there's going to be changes in the accounting office that's going to make that possible. But those are some other things that we do, you know, on a weekly basis that would be impacted.
So closing the office doesn't mean you guys can't go into the office, right? So Alicia, you raised your hand when he mentioned collecting Camp T checks.
So,
But
and that's
but
something
when we
that,
get documents like that, we should still be retrieving them, and, you know, it's not necessarily going into the office that is the danger. It's interacting with people. And
right.
you know, if you go in, you know, I'm working from home myself right now, but I've gone in twice this week to get documents that I need. I'm in and I'm out and I'm back home. My expectation would be that something like that would continue, so that our tasks of cashing Camp T checks, you know, we don't want people, you know, dropping $2,000 checks off and having, you know, that money sitting in their account, you know, that creates other issues.
Yep. Absolutely. So I kind of went through and had a conversation with Nina today about this. And I said that, you know, I do want to work with, you know, the policy that we have, but I also am willing to work with, you know, the town and the Board of Selectmen as well, because I know that they're kind of working on a policy sort of tandem, but a little bit different. So if it's required for there to be like a skeleton crew, like one person for each of the departments that stays in the office, then I'm willing to be that person. You know, I live 5 minutes away. We don't have kids. So, you know, I'm totally fine with being that person. And, you know, some of the things that Tim had mentioned, like the invoices and processing of checks and things like that, doing the turnovers, some of that stuff you do have to do physically. So I would have to go into the office to do those things anyway.
Okay. And is that, I mean, I assume I don't know where the rest of our staff lives other than Tim, but, you know, if their tasks require them to go in and get materials, I would expect them to do it as well. I wouldn't necessarily have to leave everything on your shoulders.
Sure.
Maybe you want to go in and grab them and then you can deliver them. You know, I don't know how we want to do it, but, you know, my personal opinion is that if we close the office, I think we should close the office. I think you guys should work from home, but I don't think it should impact our daily tasks. And if, you know, someone besides Tim or Alicia has a duty that they need to accomplish that requires them to go in and retrieve a document or, you know, documents, they should go in and do that.
Yeah. And I think that our staff would do that. I don't have any concern about that, but I don't think that, you know, other than Tim and myself, in reference to Megan or Rachel, I don't think there's going to be really much that they need to be in the office to do, honestly.
Okay, and how do you, as far as workload goes, they'll know what to do? Will you be giving, you know, do you have to give them, I know you kind of mentioned it before, but are you going to give them a daily checklist and have them come back to you at the end of the day and say, this is what got done, this is what didn't get done, and give you the ability to say, you know, I give you 4 hours of work today, how come it's not done, you know, more or less? I just don't want to create a situation where we have staff working from home that aren't actually working from home and still collecting a paycheck from the town.
And that is something I feel like comes up a lot. And I think it's kind of a little bit of a misconception, because I've seen quite the opposite, that usually when people work at home, there's more that they're doing, that they're probably putting in more time than they should be. So that's kind of why on that policy, on the bottom of it, I put in those productivity measures. So we would start out every morning with that video conference, just much like we're doing right now, so that everybody can understand, what their assignments are, if they have questions, if we need to brainstorm things, that it gives us that time and the opportunity to do so. If we need to do this throughout the day, then we do. We're a really communicative group, so I don't see any issues with, people asking questions or, reaching out to other staff members. The other part of it is that they have to log their hours. We do use an online system called When I Work, and we've had that implemented for over 2 years now. So that's something that, we'll be able to keep track of all of the time frames. And then again, part of this policy is that no one's allowed to work overtime. We're just not even gonna approve that at all. So, that's a part of it. And then lastly gets to the daily reports. So at the end of every day, I want them to turn in that 2 to 3 sentences about what they've completed for the day. I will compile those and I can give those to you as an entire committee or commission on a weekly basis. So you have input and you can ask those questions if we need to change or amend things as we go along.
Okay. I don't know how the rest of the commissioners feel, but I think that's your job. I don't need to see myself. I don't need to see a weekly report from the staff. If they're not doing your job, then you're not doing your job, and we'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
So you guys can keep that internally as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
I think Alicia and Tim run a tight ship, so
I agree.
I think I don't need a weekly report. I think as you outline the policy is a good way to go.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't need to see anything. You guys have good employees. I don't even see the need to have sentences done at the end of every day. I don't think you have a problem now with people not doing their jobs. And you guys can handle it internally however you want, but I don't, if it was up to me, I wouldn't care if you didn't have them do daily briefings because they do their job. And we're talking about a 2 or 3 week situation right now. Who knows how long it's going to go, but it's short term.
Yeah.
And I think they're all professionals and they can handle whatever tasks they've been given. You can handle it however you want.
I'm not dissenting because I agree with everything everybody said. No, you're smiling, Alicia. She and I discussed this a little bit, and my point was simply to be able for us as a commission to say we actually provided some oversight to this and we were aware of what was going on. And I don't think we need a daily report. You want to give us a summary or something like that, but just this is kind of a unique position we're in, and we're really the only department that's going to be doing this really all out. And I know there's some dissent amongst the selectmen about people working from home or the department not being there, and some of them want people in the town hall. So that's sort of where I came from, was simply to allow us to say we provided oversight, and if something happens or they want to give Tim or Alicia a hard time about something, they can say, look, we've got these reports every day and we kept the commissioners in the loop.
What about weekly? I'm fine either way, but.
No, I don't. Believe me, the last thing, at least personally, I want to see something every day. But for them to just get, if they can get a 2-sentence summary from one of the employees at the end of every day, and then at the end of the week, they want to say, here's what we've accomplished, or here's what happened, then everybody's been involved and we've watched what happened. And there can't be any finger pointing later on. And that was strictly my only concern.
And that's exactly what the process was supposed to be, that we would get the information from them on a daily basis. I would surmise all of that into a weekly statement, and that's what you guys would have to review.
Sounds good. Okay.
It's a checks and balance system.
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I find myself agreeing with Sean and Fred. We certainly trust the employees, but to Fred's point, it is a unique situation. And, if all the departments aren't following suit, I have a feeling they will eventually, but if they're not, then we probably want to have something to fall back on if we are questioned about it. So I think
I sat down with
Do you
everybody.
have a system laid out? We can go with that.
I sat down with everybody yesterday, and they all have about a 2-page list of what they have to do, what needs to be accomplished between now and opening for summer. We added some stuff to that. There's definitely some policies and some documents that need to be that haven't for the past couple of years. But the most important thing was Rachel actually put forth a really good document that I'm hoping that she can set forth for Katie. Meg's a self-starter, and she's got a ton of work to do with getting camp front loaded. But basically, Rachel broke it down, hour and then 2-hour blocks, and it's basically everything from the video conference to task 1, task 2, lunch, task 3, task 4, end of day. So if they can stay within that matrix, they did a really good job putting it together. So I'm confident that they're going to be able to follow it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you need a motion?
Yep.
Question. So you need a motion to approve of Parks and Rec's office closing until further notice? Staff working from home?
I guess you guys could do that. It was more of instating this state of emergency telecommuting policy, but that would be helpful as well.
Let's not use the word
working from home?
closing.
Yeah.
Sorry?
You're right, Fred.
Let's not use the word closing.
Exactly. Well, how about remote or telecommuting?
Remote operations.
Remote operations? Yeah.
Or we could just vote to approve the policy.
What policy? The
Michael,
task policy?
the policy that Alicia sent out.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
Jesus.
funny.
So while everybody's trying to find that policy, my one question, I just want to clarify is, so Mike, I know you said, if there's stuff to be done, you're fine with us going back to the office. Does that include, if there's some nice days, we catch a really good day like tomorrow, that I can get down to the beach and start doing some of the turnout that needs to happen?
I mean, I would think you would want to.
I do. Clarifying that that you're okay with that.
Yeah, I think as long as, I think the key here is that we're sticking by the, social distancing policy that everyone wants. If you're down at the beach and you find 15 people down there, I don't expect you to, go around them and do your work around them. I want you to stay safe, keep your distance. But if you can go down there and you're working by yourself to get the beach ready, or even with, one other person, you guys, keeping relative distance with each other. And, I think this, we don't know how long this is going to go on. So we can't, things like getting the beach ready is going to have to continue in some capacity.
Yeah.
That I guess my point is I don't want you to put you in a situation that isn't good for you or your family, but I'm not trying to dictate that you guys have to stay home. Like, I want you to get your work done, whatever you need to get done. And then if that entails going to the beach and working by yourself, or, however it needs to get done, then, you'll be down there tomorrow working on that tree. I assume there's going to be 5 or 6 guys down there with you. So.
Yep. I hear you. I'll keep my distance, guys, but yeah, no. All right. I just wanted to,
whatever you're comfortable with, I guess is my point.
Yeah. Nice out. I'm going to try to, get down there, and there's, pressure washing. There's things that I can do by myself.
Yeah.
That I can definitely start, hitting in the next couple, however long we got.
Yeah. I'm sure the last thing you want is to get behind on the beach again this year.
Exactly.
Not that it was your fault last year, but we saw how much it, it impacted the department and you in particular. So, as much as we can avoid that, let's try to do that.
Okay.
Keep everyone safe.
If you're ready to take a motion, I can I can present one.
Now that you've read that policy.
Yep. You ready?
Okay. We're ready, Mike.
I'm making a motion to approve PRC state of emergency telecommuting policy.
I second.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All right. Sean, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Fred.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well, so that is approved. All right, last item on the agenda is the acceptance of a $1,450 donation from Millipore Sigma's Bioprocessing Leadership Team to the Youth Scholarship Fund in honor of Claire Kazanjian. So that was very generous for them to donate that money to us. Obviously, you know, John's been a huge part of the town. He's been a huge part of this department. Stepped up when we needed a member of the commission. Hearts still go out to his family. Claire was a wonderful woman, so it's, you know, fantastic donation in her name. I know some other people that work at that company. It's a great company. So just really appreciate them donating that to us in the town and you know, the residents who are going to benefit from it. So I don't know if anything else they want to add, or we can just entertain a motion to accept it. Not all at once.
I'd make a motion to accept the generous gift from Millipore in honor of Claire Kazanjian.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, Sean, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Fred?
Aye.
I'm also an aye. Thank you very much to Millipore, and it's going to get put to good use.
Yeah.
All right, we have anything else? My next item is adjourn.
So just to let you know, the tree is coming down tomorrow. I did send out the letters as requested. We received no phone calls, no emails or anything to our office or the selectman's office as confirmed by Nina and Joe today. So we are going to move forward with that. Just wanted to give you that quick update.
Okay, great. I see Saul is still here, so if Saul, if you have anything else, any other public comments, I'd like to give you the opportunity. If not, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
All right.
I second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Do we need a roll call for that?
I think we're good.
Sean, how do you vote? Do you want to adjourn, Sean? You look like you do.
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Fred?
Aye.
I'm a no, that's 3-1, but no, I'm an aye. Unanimous adjournment. Have a good night, everyone.